A fun fact about me is that all of my best friends my whole life have been Polish. And I don't know what it is about Irish and Polish people coming together, but
they're good men.
Because we're drinking buddies. That's why.
Yes. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to OTTB on Tap. I'm Neve.
And I'm Emily. Hey, Neve, what's on tap today?
Today, we're sharing an incredible story in our OTTB Underdog Stories series. Our guest is Juliana Prusak, an amateur rider from Central Texas whose journey with her OTTB Nemo is one of perseverance and inspiration. Juliana recently entered our OTTB Market / OTTB on Tap Underdog contest and just narrowly came in runner-up, though she got hundreds of votes. We're so excited to have her here and share her story.
Juliana and Nemo faced a kissing spine diagnosis, surgery, and rehab this year, and despite all of that, they competed at the Retired Racehorse Project Makeover in October. Juliana, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, so glad to be here. And thank you guys so much for inviting me. Thank you guys so much for inviting me and to be able to showcase Nemo's story and be able to tell you guys about his journey.
Juliana, thank you so much for being here. So we're going to continue to call you Jules, as we just spoke off mic a little bit about the uniqueness of your names and how you've got your nickname Jules, which I love because it's one of my very good friends' names as well. Your passion for thoroughbreds goes way back into your childhood near Arlington Racetrack in Chicago. But what really caught my attention is how you started riding, sneaking into the pasture to hop on your grandmother's plow horse in Poland. Can you tell us a little bit more about those early experiences and how they shaped your love for horses?
Yeah. So my grandma, she's got a small farm down in southern Poland. It's in a town named Groźnów. There's not many people around there. And she had a horse named Kasztan that she actually bought way before I was born. She actually bought him a few hours away. She actually took a bus out there to the auction, picked him up and hand walked him back to the ranch or farm.
God.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I swear I get all the courageous stuff from her and she's amazing. But basically half my childhood was spent over at that farm. And every time like no one was looking, I would go out to the pasture and go jump on him and stuff. And then get yelled at by my mom, or I would wake up really early in the morning, help like milk the cows, and then I would be running back to the barn and go grabbing the horse and doing everything possible with him. He was awesome. His name was Kasztan, which means chestnut in Polish. Very unique. I know he was a chestnut horse with a blaze and a little bit of like head socks. Definitely wasn't taught to ride, only knew how to plow, but that didn't stop little Jules to jumping on him. So
I love it.
And did he take okay to that without being really a riding horse? Was he pretty tolerant?
I mean, he was fine with me. Yeah, I was going to say, I think he was pretty tolerant. He lived up to like his mid-20s, but I never put a saddle on him. I just rode him around bareback. And then he was awesome. Minus when me and my cousin rode on him, both of us on his back, and a motorcycle spooked him a little bit. And my cousin fell off and I grabbed onto the mane and I was like, that was the best time of my life. And my mom's like, oh, I need to get you riding lessons. Scary.
You're like, see how that worked?
Yeah, that's where the drugs started.
I'm going to say your story about riding this big chestnut horse with a blaze is giving me throwbacks to National Velvet for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can think of.
I always wanted to, I've never really watched that movie or book or whatever, but everybody talks about how great it is. I've only seen Black Beauty.
I think I was just actually thinking about something we should do for a Christmas episode, and I really want to do a recap of a horse movie that features a thoroughbred, and I think that might have to be the movie that we do.
I don't know. I think it has to be Sylvester. Come on now.
Sylvester is good. There's so many choices, actually. I think we're going to query the group this week about
I'm going to have to do a Google deep dive on all these because I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So anyway, later when you were at Iowa State, you worked at the test barn at Prairie Meadows. That sounds like such a unique experience. Can you explain what the test barn is and what it was like working so close to racehorses?
It was fun. So some of my friends actually started working there the year prior to that, and a lot of their workers for the next following summer, they were graduating and leaving Iowa, which was a bummer. But I hopped on it because I wanted to see the other side of the track because I used to actually do a little bit of exercise riding.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how I got into thoroughbreds first. And then when I went to college, I stopped that. And I wanted to see that side. And it was really interesting to see how the blood draws and getting the urine samples and bringing it back to Iowa State to do all the diagnostic stuff, to do the drug testing. And I actually now work at TVMDL, which is the Texas Veterinary Diagnostic Lab. And we were, this past fiscal year, we stopped, but we used to do the drug testing for the Texas Racing Commissions. Oh. Yeah. So I got to do that portion this past 2 years. So that was fun. So I basically did a full circle from starting at the track, from hand walking to exercise riding to grabbing the samples to then running them.
Does this mean that you're really good at whistling?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I had to whistle a lot. So, God.
For the listeners,
a lot of chapstick was there.
For the listeners that don't know what we're talking about, it's a trade secret that racehorses are taught to pee on demand by the Pavlovian technique of whistling. So
does it work? I don't know.
I feel like it works on a lot of them, but
sometimes I just remember quivering in the back of those kickboards sometimes and like whistling,
trying to whistle
out in the back. Please pee. Stop panicking. I know it's scary in here. You can't see your friends, but please just do it.
That's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about your RRP horse, Nemo. Can you remind us what his jockey club name is?
Yeah, his name's Too Much Crown.
Oh, I actually love that name. And I don't know why. Like, maybe it made me think of Crown Royal.
Right, is it Crown Royal?
That's exactly where my thought process was. So then I went the deep dive and tried figuring out what was his barn name before. And someone actually told me, oh, it was whiskey. I'm like, he's not a whiskey. We're like,
I love it. This totally offshoot of this, but the only relationship I have to Crown Royal is that my boyfriend told me when he was a kid, he used to keep his marbles in a Crown Royal bag.
So that's just funny.
Love that.
Crown Royal, I think, is the only liquor that I cannot drink because I've
never had it.
Really? The honey one's actually pretty good.
That one I could probably do.
Like Dr. Pepper.
I may or may not have had an experience in my younger days. Of too much Crown Royal, really cute guy.
You just look at that purple velvet bag and you're like, I can't.
No. I was a working student at the time. The next morning I had to go. I was like trying to muck the stalls, and my trainer came in and he was like, what did you get into last night? And he felt so bad for me that he actually sent me back to bed and mucked all the stalls. But then he made me ride the bounciest horse we had that afternoon. And I was cool. Like, so anyway,
that's, yeah. We digress. Okay. So tell us how he came into your life and what was it about him that made you say he's the one?
So actually, I started looking for Thoroughbred. It was 2023, like in February, I started casually looking because I lost my heart horse a year prior to that to a pasture accident. And I thought it was time to try to find another Thoroughbred, try to help it after its racing career. Mm-hmm. So ideally, I was trying to find a sale project. Lo and behold, that's not what happened, of course. But I did actually have to have ankle surgery in August, and because I broke it earlier on in the year. Yeah, I toughed it out 6 months. I was like, oh, this isn't broken. Hiked on it. Yeah, man. I went wakeboarding. I went cliff jumping and everything. And I was just like, that's fine. It's no big deal. And then I tried jumping my friend's horse before I went to Poland where my fiance actually proposed to me. And I was like, oh, no, I can't jump. Like, this hurts. Oh, no. That's when I found out it was broken. Yeah, I was like, this is really wrong. So I finally had my surgery in August. And I was just laying there. And I saw his photo posted by, I don't know if you guys know her, Jade Favor from Louisiana. Yeah. So she posted him and he just had, this is going to sound so weird. His eye he looked stoned out of his mind. Like he just looked like a straight up stoner and he just seemed very relaxed and just like very calm. And I was like, oh, he seems pretty cool, but that's not my type of horse whatsoever. Like I like the hot, I like the spicy. Mm-hmm. The chestnut mare in a gelding formation. That's my favorite.
Love it.
And so I reached out to her and she wrote down that he was like a slight roarer, which that to me, I don't care about that. I like those little underdog stories, the ones that people just don't want to give a second chance to because they're just like, oh no, there's something wrong with it. It's not going to work out. But I was 2 days post-op, so I was like, there's no way I can drive out 8 hours with a truck and trailer to go pick this horse up. So I was like, if it's meant to be, maybe he'll pop up eventually later down the road, or I'll find something that's more perfect for me. A month later, Christina Hobbs from Reciprocity Thoroughbreds, when she used to be in Alito, Texas, now I think she's in up in the Fort Worth area. She posted him, and I was like, there's no way that this is the same horse, because she was calling him Nemo, but he just had that same build. And I asked her a couple questions. I was like, hey, is this the horse that Jade had? Is this too much crown? Is this a slight roar? She's, yeah, actually. I'm like, I'll be there Saturday. Just let me be. I was just like, so I show up with my friend that trains Mustangs in my boot, because I can't ride. And I get out of the truck, and she's, oh, you're not going to try him. I'm like, no, I just want you to hand walk him straight line. I need you just to jog him once or twice. Yeah. This is going to be the easiest sail. Like, she's like, you're not going to do a PB. I'm like, my friend starts laughing. She's, no, like, we do Mustangs. This is like the best we can do. Usually we see them in the pen, and we're just trying to eyeball them and
right.
Like, figure out if they're okay.
And Christina has a really great eye for horses too. So I feel like that's a good trusted, and so does Jade. Obviously, she sells so many of them to sport horse homes that, like, between those two connections, you can feel like, okay, they both like the horse.
Have
probably
to be at least somewhat good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was talking a lot with Jade, and that was my first time speaking with Christina, and it was really nice that she was very open and honest, because he actually stepped on something that morning, like literally an hour before we were supposed to show up, and she's texting me right off the bat. She's, hey, he stepped on this. He's not lame. I just want to let you know. I understand if you don't want to come and see him anymore. And I'm like, it's okay. It's fine. Because it was just like a small little speck of metal, but she wanted me to, like, at least know about it. So yeah, I was like, it's fine. No,
they always have great timing, don't they?
Oh, they know.
Oh, totally. Especially this one, I swear. This horse. Yeah. He likes to keep me on my toes.
So you brought him home, I take it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I was bawling like a baby and everything when I handed her the money and everything like that. And then he stayed with my friend at her place where she trains Mustangs for about a week, just because we wanted to see how he would be. Like, oh, I forgot this part. When we showed up there, we walked into the barn, and he was actually just hanging out on cross ties, and there was a horse freaking out right next to him, rearing, bucking, just being spunky little 4-year-olds are. And he's just sitting there, and I'm like, there's no way this horse is this chill. My first thought process was, he's either that chill or he's drugged out of his mind. Yeah, right. That's exactly. I was like, there's no way. No, he's that chill. I can throw, like, literally umbrellas in his face, and that horse could care less.
That's amazing.
Bubbles are the thing that gets him.
Oh yeah.
Well, no,
very strange for them.
Yeah, I can put him through the weird trail obstacles, no problem. Drag something, doesn't bat an eye. You guys saw his RRP costume, stick something on his head, could care less. Bubbles from a bubble machine? Oh no, that's like a death trap.
That's so funny. I feel like there's always like something.
The one thing
that's good.
Yeah,
Emily had a horse that was afraid of Velcro, which
she was also afraid of, she had also been to the track and was afraid of hoses. So, and didn't know how to be hosed off. And I was like, how is that
are very
possible?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
They can bite.
Yeah, they can bite. You never know what they're going to do.
Yeah. Sometimes they have that little weird thing about them.
I love that serendipitous kind of connection between you guys. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I'm happy that he brought those two lovely ladies into my life, because I definitely still keep track with them and everything. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure they're so excited to see how you guys did this year.
Oh, they were losing their absolute. I didn't believe this was actually going to happen, but I'm going to go with it.
So speaking of, part of your Underdog story is that Nemo was unfortunately diagnosed with kissing spine earlier this year, and that can be a pretty tough diagnosis. Can you take us through the beginnings of how you started thinking maybe something was wrong and how the diagnosis was confirmed?
Yeah. As for RRP, you can start riding your horses December 1st. Mm-hmm. And the first month, he was actually perfect. He was perfect. January, I got him fitted for a saddle with our saddle fitter. Everything was amazing. And then, like, I started noticing actually in early February, he would lift his tail just ever so slightly. Everybody thought I was crazy for this. I was like, no, he's lifting his tail and he's moving it to the right. That doesn't seem like it's normal. They're like, no, you're just being overcautious, because my old horse actually had kissing spine in 11 spots. So his was super, but he was still jumping. Like, when he passed away at 19, I was still going over 3.3, 3.6 jumps with him.
Don't have any clinical issues.
We only found it as a fluke because he actually was got into some nightshade in his pasture.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was acting a little crazy with that, but that's besides the point. But that's how we found his kissing spine.
Yeah.
That didn't affect him. But yeah, so in February, it was that slight tail lift. And then towards the end of February, I remember having one specific ride where I had one of my friends that does dressage come out and watch me, and I noticed that he was super tense under saddle. And then a couple days later, he actually kicked out once. And I was like, there's something wrong. So I asked my friend Camille with the Mustangs if I could bring him over for a couple days. Can you validate what you're seeing? Or what I'm seeing, you're seeing it as well. I think she only did about 2 rides on him, and she's, no, there's something wrong. And our chiropractor looked at him. She's like, I think it's kissing spine. You should probably have your vet take a look at it. So actually on March 18th, that was my heart horse's birthday. We went to the vet, and my vet palpated his back, and he actually double barrel kicked out. We did the X-ray, and he's like, yeah, that's a positive.
That's a strong response.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I figured it's there. And so he had about 5 touching when they did the X-ray right there that we could see. But then they did another X-ray for pre-op, and they found 5 touching and 1 overlap.
Oh, wow. An overlap. And we don't have to have this in the recording, but would you be willing to share one of your X-rays with us?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
I can share you guys those X-rays. I can share you guys my old horse's X-rays. I'm totally.
That would be very cool, because we haven't really gotten into kissing spine in a more pinpointed way like we are with you. And this is going to be the first time we're talking about it. And we want to make sure that like the information that we share, like, correlates to something that has some backing, because there's just a lot of misinformation, there's a lot of gray area, right?
Yeah.
And so it's really important to like hear, this is one story. Your mileage may vary, but I think it's also good for people to understand what they're looking at when they look at the X-rays and know the difference. And what's really tough too,
you can see me nodding.
What's really tough too is that you have horses that have very mild close points and might have very big clinical signs. And then you have horses that have all of their points are touching, like you said, with your heart horse, and might not have any clinical signs. We are at like the 5% mark of knowing what kissing spine is really all about. And I think it's just really important to continue this conversation and educate everybody, because vets are learning about this in real time. Yes, this has existed for a long time, but it's only now in the forefront of PPEs and veterinary medicine and things that people are actually focusing on. And yeah, I think anything that you can give to support your story would be awesome for us.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I heard this study, like it's 80% of horses will have kissing spine, but it just doesn't mean that they're actually going to be positive to the pain response and stuff.
Yep.
So...
Absolutely.
But my vet, Dr. Nathan Canada, he works at Texas Equine. He actually works under the guy that actually invented the osteotomy surgery. Oh, gosh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Dr. Cliff Hannes. And so that's the only reason why I even went about with the surgery, is because I trust both of their judgments. And I know that Dr. Canada wouldn't have recommended that surgery if he didn't believe it would have been in Nemo's best interest. Because I went straight off the bat. I was like, can't we inject? Can't we just do the ligament snip? Can I just do all the exercises? Even though I was already riding, I was making him put his head down. I was doing the stretches. I was making him do the ab workout thingies, the butt tucks and stuff. I was doing all that prior to even knowing he had kissing spine, just because of Bello, my other horse's past. So I was like, I'm going to try to avoid that, like a 10-foot pole type of situation. I don't want to go anywhere near that. Yeah. So he's the spaces that were super close, like I can't even get a needle through it. And also the biggest concern was the overlap. And you can see it even just looking at his back. I have to find a photo so I can send it to you guys. He had this small little lump, and you can see, and we're thinking that maybe that was where the overlap was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So then on March 23rd, he had his surgery, because I didn't want to wait. I don't make that much money. Poor horse girl status over here.
Yeah.
I was already thinking, I was like, oh, I can put this on a credit card. I can do this. I can do that. I can pick up a second job. Well, my friend Camille White with Camille's Mustangs, she's an amazing friend. She actually fundraised Nemo's surgery bill. Yeah, she did a lay down series to teach your horse how to lay down. And all the proceeds went to paying for his surgery. And she actually covered $3,000 out of the $4,500 vet bill.
Wow. A big shout out to Camille. She sounds like an amazing friend.
Yeah. If you guys need anybody to train your horse, she's your girl.
Too bad she's not closer to Pennsylvania.
I know. Yeah.
I was going to ask a little more about the surgery that you chose. And if I'd never heard of that, osteotomy. How do you say it?
Yeah. So I think I'm saying it. I'm probably some veterinarian's probably going to be listening to this and saying I'm saying it wrong. It's like ostectomy. So it's basically when you shave off the bone. So there's different type of bone shave surgeries that some people will do. I don't really agree with some of them. The ones that Dr. Hannes and Dr. Canada do is where they'll shave the in-between spaces. Mm-hmm. And if they've made a big enough space, is if they can insert like their index finger in between. Oh, wow. So that's how and then there's other people that actually lob off the top part of the vertebrae of every other vertebrae. And that's what the surgery I was very concerned about. I didn't want that because I just felt like it was just going to compromise the integrity of the spine in general. Yeah. So when Dr. Canada explained to me, we don't do it this way, we do it this way. This is how Dr. Hannes has been doing it. He's had a lot of success with it for years. A lot of his hunter jumpers, even Western horses that have had it years ago, because I think the first time he did it was either in 2015 or 2013. Don't quote me on that one, but they're still working and showing and all that stuff. If those horses are still riding pretty well, then I was like, I think my 5-year-old has a chance at least. At least I can say I gave him a chance.
It's interesting that you bring this up because I think the Chronicle of the Horse released an article today, or not today, but this week, about a horse that had there's a different name for it when it involves the neck, but it was a horse that...
ECVM.
Yeah. Yes. And it was a horse that like had the same type of surgery where they actually remodel like the shape of the bones and the neck to create more space versus clipping anything or injecting anything. And the horse went on to have a really good career and everything like that. But so it sounds like this might be a little bit of the modern wave of all of the things that they've tried. But again, I think your mileage will vary depending on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, if I had the money to be able to do the testing to see if Nemo had ECVM first prior to doing the surgery, I would totally go down that route. But just the extra diagnostics and stuff and just being, I guess, oh God, I'm close to my 30s. I'm going to say I'm 20 still. In my 20s still. I couldn't afford that.
You're talking to a couple of mid-40s women.
What are you talking about? You guys don't look a day over 25.
We love you.
Yeah, I turned 46 on Saturday, so.
No way. No, you're lying.
Emily and I were both bright red. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just
You're like,
bright red.
We need to keep her on the podcast now. She gives out compliments.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome back anytime, Jules.
Oh, thanks.
So you get the surgery done late March, right? And what can you tell us about the rehab and the rehabilitation journey after your surgery?
About like 10 days post-op, because my vet actually staples it shut and then he stitches a towel on top. So I have a little bit of vet tech knowledge in my background just because I did a lot of research back at Iowa State with the swine and small animal and also horses. So he was like, you can get the towel out. Here's your scissors. You got it. No biggie. So I took I was like, cool, thanks. Gee, I can do that on someone else's horse, not mine, but okay, thanks.
Isn't that so funny how you can do that on someone else's horse, but not your own? The grosser, the better on anybody else but my own horse.
Oh, no
let
problem.
Me in there.
Yeah, when I started at TVMDL, I used to do necropsy. So that to me, this is no problem. This is easy. Me going up there, standing on a mounting block, and I'm like staring. My mom was visiting from Chicago, and she's looking at me. She's like, are you going to be okay? And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to kick me if I'm trying to get this towel out or not, but I'm not doing okay up here.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, no, took the towel out 10 days post-op, and then 2 weeks post-op, we took the staples out.
Okay.
Then I had to bring him back to the vet a week later so we can do steroid injections in between the vertebrae where they did the bone shaves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where they made those spaces. And then a week after that, so it's 4 weeks post-op, Dr. Canada the week prior to gave me os to inject him. So I gave him 15 mils of os to help with the bone remodeling. It wouldn't come back because no matter what, the bone's going to remodel and it sometimes might look ugly. I was warned about that he even told me if we x-ray in a year, it might look ugly, but don't worry. It's fine. It's not going to bother him. The nerve endings up there are already dead. Yeah, they might grow back, but he can't feel it. I promise you. It might look ugly, but the OSFOS is going to help him. All right, I trust your judgment. We're already here, so it's not like I can take back the surgery or anything. And so during that time from surgery to the 3 weeks post-op, he had to be in a stall or in a small pen. And then at 8 weeks, he was able to go out into a bigger pen. So what was it? Back in May. So it was mid-May when I went to get our spring vaccines and I was like, hey, can you just see if he's okay? Are we good to go to do more demanding stuff like for our rehab? Because I was walking him about, oh God, I can't even remember those days because I was literally waking up at 4 a.m. before work to go to the barn because my barn's about 40-ish minutes away from where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Same for me.
Yeah, I would walk him for 30 minutes before work. My fiance would go in the middle of the day because he's a student here at Texas A&M, so he has more free time, that lucky duck. And then after work, I would go there and I would stay there till 9 o'clock walking him for 30 minutes.
Wow.
So he walked about 5 or 6 times a day. And there's a slight incline at the barn. And from the get-go, I started walking him up and down that incline. I think we did each walk 2 miles, if not more, for that 30-minute walks. And we just increased from there because I didn't want him to lose any of that muscle tone on his back because if they don't use it, then
they lose it.
Yeah. But mid-May is when he got those spring vax, my vet said, no, he's good to go to start doing like more intensive work. You can start using the Equiband or you can do Aquatred. And he recommended a veterinarian that's actually an hour away from us that does rehab, and he has an Aquatred. He's got all the fun stuff and all those things. So I reached out to him and asked him if he had availability for taking on rehab for at least just about 3 to 4 weeks so he can at least get the muscle tone back and be able to be watched by a professional to get those back. Because I trust myself, but I didn't want to do it wrong, and I wanted to do the best way possible with Nemo just because he's put his heart and soul into basically like everybody he's graced with. I don't know, like he was there. He's been good. Someone needed to look out for him.
Yeah.
So he went to Dr. Payne at Payne Equine and he did about 4 weeks of Aquatred. So they started off with three days for the first week. And then he went to 4 days for the second week. And I think they increased it up to, by the time he left, every single day he was on the Aquatred.
That's amazing.
So that helped him significantly up until he came back. And 3 days later in turnout, he decided to stab his stifle. So,
wait, so you were going through this whole story. I was going through in my mind and I was like, okay, so now we're at May. So we're 5 months out from the makeover.
Yes.
And you haven't even spoken about that. And then I was like, wait, when was she actually allowed to start being weight bearing on her leg? And what was going on there?
Technically I wasn't supposed to start riding until January on my leg. I started, I guess some of my friends were letting me borrow their horses. Camille obviously was letting me not borrow. I basically stole a lot of her horses when she didn't have time to ride on. And I started, I think, in October when I should not have. So I hope my doctor is not listening to this because I'm going to get in a lot of trouble. But no, I didn't start riding him until mid-August. So I only had a month and a half of training on that horse. Yeah. So we were biting the bullet. I was terrified. I was like, nope, we're not going to make it. This is not going to happen. And Camille, she's the one, she's like, suck it up, Girl Scout. You're going. Too bad, so sad. You got this horse. You said if you do the RRP, you got to do a Mustang makeover. So you got to go. And I'm like, okay.
So you had applied, been accepted, and then had declared your discipline already at this point?
I declared Officially, we were able till, I think it was August 15th, and I waited till literally
the last second.
literally 4:59, because I'm like sitting there debating. I knew I was going to do freestyle, but from the get-go, I wanted to do eventing. I was like, that's off the table.
Yeah.
As soon as the surgery, that's off the table. I was like, maybe I can do still hunters or jumpers. And then I'm sitting there, and I was like, if we're good after the aqua tread, I was like, yeah, we're fine. This is great. We have enough time to build up some jumping muscle.
Yeah.
Then those stupid little fish nugget decides to millimeters away stab his stifle. I'll send you one of those photos too, because I was literally eye twitching, and so was my vet. He's really testing your abilities here. I'm like, you're testing my patience more like
Slash
it.
bank account.
Oh yeah, Jules does not have a bank account anymore. It's Nemo's bank account.
And stifle injuries are one of those things too, where unfortunately there are very few stifle puncture type injuries that are not extremely problematic. I don't know of anyone that's had one that they were like, no, it was fine after a day or two. It's always just
it
like
took about a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awful. I was eye twitching when it happened. We're like, do we stitch it or do we not stitch it?
Oh my God, it's such a hard place to do any of that.
Exactly. I was like, just leave it. I don't care if it's ugly. Let's just leave it.
Did he actually puncture the joint itself?
No, I'm not kidding you. It was millimeters. It went like maybe a smidge more. It would have been donezo. Yeah, it would have gotten into the joint. That's what we were questioning. If we stitched it closed, if he has an infection, it's going to get into the joint. If we keep it open.
Exactly.
But then it's ugly. I don't care if it's ugly. For all I care, it can look like Scarface on that leg. I just don't want it to get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, August, then I messaged Shannon Reed, who's the vet for RRP, and I was like, hey, I have this big dilemma. I really want to jump, but this is what's on the table for me. I really need a judgment, or just help me out here. So she played out everything, like what the rules are for each discipline and what I should expect.
Are you going to be asking too much of him?
Yeah, and I was like, he's done too much already for me. This was a dream of mine to go to this horse show, since 2015 when I found out about it. So we're going to do freestyle because I've always wanted to do that. And we're just going to do dressage as a warm up and see if I still remember how to do that stuff.
Sounds really fair, all things considered. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So can you explain a little bit about the freestyle competition for listeners that may not know? Like, how's it judged? What kind of skills does it test? What is the training like?
Yeah. So what the judges are specifically looking for, they're looking for the degree of difficulty. So if they want to see if you can ride bridleless or tackless or any of those things, or going through obstacles, they want to see that the horse is doing this willingly, like super relaxed. If the horse is stressed out or not, you're obviously going to get points docked. And also they want to see the harmony between the horse and rider. This is also a place where you can show the opportunity to show your special skills, tricks that if you've taught your horse to lay down, sit on a beanbag chair, use props, and just if you can catch, I guess, the spectators' attention and all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what they're looking for in freestyle.
And how did you go about picking what you were going to do for your freestyle, and how did Nemo perform in it?
So Christina, when she picked up Nemo, she picked up another horse, and she also named that one Marlin. So she obviously had a Finding Nemo theme when she picked those two up. And Finding Nemo is my favorite movie. So I was like, I can't change his name. It's perfect. Yeah. So I wanted to go with...
You buried the lead there, I think.
Honestly, I feel like this horse was meant for me. But so I was like, we got to do Finding Nemo. I already have something envisioned in my head, and my friend, I keep talking about her, but that's because she's so amazing. She's the freestyle guru. I'm not kidding you. This girl has won so many freestyles for the Mustang makeovers. So she helped me figure out how we can put my idea together and make it look not super choppy and bad, because I'm not creative whatsoever. I mean, we had a lot more ideas, but we had to pull a lot of them away just because we didn't have the time to train him. And also because some of our friends couldn't make it from Florida that also do Mustangs. And I was worried about the props coming in with people that don't know how to set up props for freestyles. I was like, no, we're just leaving them behind. Let's just try to make this as easy and as fun as possible for everybody.
Yeah. And were there any moments in the competition that really stood out for you, either as highlights or learning experiences with him?
Oh, I was panicking because as soon as we got to Kentucky, he was lame.
Oh my God. Stop.
So I'm not kidding you. So you know how everybody on Monday and Tuesday are able to walk around and ride their horses?
Yeah.
I was not. No. Tuesday, I literally hand walked him in the dressage arena, and I hand walked him in the covered arena. And I was like, all right, what was it? Wednesday, we had our prop school, and I think Wednesday was our dressage midday or so. I was like, we're going to see if he's sound and if I have to scratch for dressage. I called the chiropractor that was there. There was this really amazing girl that was competing that brought her MagnaWave. And I'm like, you come here now. I need you. Oh, I was stressed. Everyone's, are you okay? I'm like, no,
not really.
I haven't really warmed up my horse. I don't know how he's going to be. I drove 1,000 miles and he's lame. So,
oh my gosh. Do you think it was just from the stress of traveling?
Oh, he eats like a cow on the trailer. I'm not kidding you. I thought I overpacked. I brought 10 bales of hay for one horse. Yeah.
That's what I've done anytime I'm
a panic person. Yeah. And then instead of eating from his hay net, he was bending over and getting it from the hay bales that were stacked next,
great.
in the next stall over. And I'm like, you special. No, he was fine. I think he overexerted himself in Tennessee where we stopped, did a layover because he was galloping heavens, and I think he tweaked his muscle and he popped a rib, and he's one of those, the pH of the soil's too high.
He is chestnut. They are special, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a little special. That's why I'm like,
a little sensitive.
Yeah, we're like, we love you.
So
taught me grace, that's for sure.
Did you end up competing in the dressage when you were there? Did that work out?
I did. Yeah, we actually, so that morning when I pulled him up and I pulled out the lunge and I was like, let's see if all this magic worked. Sure enough, he was a little still stiff, but it's good enough that I think we can work out of it. And another competitor next to us, her friend brought a red light therapy, and she was like, here, take this all day, use it until your dressage class. Bet, let's do it. We're doing that. Sat with him, I'm not kidding you, for like 3+ hours with that red light on his shoulder and everything. No, we got 45th out of all the competitors in dressage.
There's a lot of people in dressage. Yeah, it was
like 100 and something. So I was pretty proud of that, especially since we only had a month and a half of training. So I was happy. And then when we had our prop school, so this is my first time doing a makeover. I didn't know how it was going to go. I thought they would play our music in the background. No, nothing. And they're just like, all right, you got 2 more minutes left in the arena. I haven't even gone on any of my stuff. I'm in danger. That's exactly what I sounded like. So I was just like, all right, let's just grab this flag. I'm just going to canter around this arena and see if he freaks out. And we're going to go from there. No, he didn't freak out. So I was like, all right, we're just going to wing it. I didn't even practice my full freestyle movements until the preliminaries. We just went with it because we just had it mapped out on a piece of paper.
That's fine.
Yeah. I'm one of those procrastinators. Can you tell?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah. You had
ADHD kid problems.
You didn't have much of a choice, I think, in your procrastination on this. I don't know that I would necessarily call it that. But curious, since the RRP is such a big stage for OTTBs and trainers, what was the atmosphere like? Did it affect him at all? I know you said he's pretty laid back. And then also, how did it feel? How did it make you feel to see him out there and all the challenges that you've been through, and then you finally got there? What was that like?
The people there, I want to go again. The people are so sweet, so amazing. I have never met so many people that will literally bend over backwards or give the shirt off their backs to help you guys out. It truly is the happiest horse show you'll ever go to. And if anybody's debating it, listening to this podcast, don't debate it, just go. You will love it, hands down. After competing in the prelims, I didn't care about the points. I just wanted to just do the freestyle and just show off my horse and just basically just show people that, yes, you can do it. Yes, he had kissing spine. But look at him now. Look where we're at. And I was smiling from ear to ear as soon as we got off that small bridge that we walked off on and we dragged our shark. I was like, he's amazing. He didn't ask for any of this. I'm asking him to do all these stupid, silly things, and he's not even questioning it in a silly getup. And he just did it without question, and I was happy. As soon as we finished our performance and I asked him to bow, I was sobbing like a baby because I was just so proud of him.
I'm sure. So with that in mind, how did you guys actually end up placing? You guys did really well, right?
Yeah. During prelims, we actually got first place, and then we got invited to do the finale, which I never would have expected to do. We actually got second place.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest compliment was the first place winner for the finale. She actually called me a couple weeks ago because I asked her a question, because Nemo was actually supposed to lay down in the freestyle, but Dingus was getting the bow confused with the lay down, and so we have the hybrid bow with both of our knees, I guess, he's like downward dog or something.
Like a camel.
Yeah, he's doing that, and then he just rubs his face in the dirt and like just literally just goes back and forth with his face. Like, I'm just like, put your butt down. And it's like the early 2000s, like, the song with the butt up in there. I don't know. That's what he does. It annoys the crap out of me because it's so frustrating. And he's the most challenging horse I've ever had to teach to lay down. I'm never teaching lay down and bow in the same time ever again, because this is the problem I created. So she called me and told me like what I can try to do to try to get him to lay down. And she was like, what you did in the freestyle was something that I'll definitely be taking notes on, because that was amazing. That really truly touched my heart, because she's won it 3 times in a row. So I know that was a big compliment.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't try to do freestyle this year.
I'm not going next year, because I promised my friend that if I did freestyle, I would do a Mustang makeover. So I'm trying to do the Fort Worth.
No, if I have to compete against her next year.
Yeah, no, don't do it. Yeah, yeah. She's amazing. Yeah.
Well, your story is so inspiring, and I hope it inspires our listeners. And you've shown that there's life after a tough diagnosis like kissing spine. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned from this journey with Nemo?
I guess my biggest thing was the motto that was like throughout my whole freestyle is, I guess, the Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Yeah, just keep going forward.
But I think that's something that just really does translate to just every journey with horses, is that you look around and every person around you has been through some aspect of what you're going through. And it's nice to know that you have that kind of solidarity in the world. It's a little bit of the reason that we created this podcast, so that people can share their stories and know that they're not alone, and to know that if they just keep going, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. Yeah. It was very soul crushing to get that diagnosis, but it was very nice to have others around me supporting me and helping me along the way to just keep moving forward. And there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for other riders or trainers that might be dealing with a similar diagnosis? Is there anything that you wish you'd known, or any advice that you could give?
Yeah, the advice I would give is definitely have a vet that knows what your goals and aspirations are with your horse, and want to see you do those things, and truthfully to be honest with you if it's actually achievable or not. And oh gosh, definitely start the rehab process as soon as you can. Don't wait, because the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be. So definitely do a lot of pole work.
I think that also, like you talking about him going to a rehab facility and doing aqua tread, and for the people that might not have experience with that, I think the undertone there is not only was he getting rehab for the kissing spine, but he was also creating muscular and cardiovascular fitness by doing the aqua tread. And so it wasn't like when you got him back, you were starting with a horse that had zero fitness on him.
Exactly.
He was physically feeling probably pretty darn good in his body, because the aqua tread creates a lot of resistance and does build them up in a really nice methodical way. And I think that's a great point. And just if you're going to do the rehab, adding in those additional measures like that is crucial to being able to continue on that journey in a successful way. Obviously, if you had a longer timeline, maybe you wouldn't have had to do the aqua tread and everything. You could have just done it yourself. But I think because you were on a truncated timeline, having all those additional resources was so important and so crucial in his recovery.
No, I totally agree. I think the biggest aspect for him being able to do what we're doing now, I'm practicing to do a hunter pace with my friend's 11-year-old daughter to go with her actually next week with Nemo, and he's jumping around. I don't think any of this would be possible without us doing the aqua tread, because it wasn't forced, but it taught him how to carry himself in the way he's supposed to carry himself without putting more strain on his back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we have a couple of quick fire questions for you to finish off the episode. Emily, did you give these to her in advance? Or not?
Oh, she totally did.
I did, but then
I've got paper everywhere. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Oh, you
No, we did not.
We're not that great.
Do the Peppa Pig thing on you, hang up on you super fast.
Okay. The first question is, what is your favorite OTTB success story besides Nemo?
Christina was supposed to tell me more about this said horse, but she never did. She just sent me videos actually earlier today. But it's actually the mare that she took to RRP this year. That horse actually, I think Jade Favor sourced as well. What I remember, I don't know if I'm quoting this correctly or not, but I know she had ankle surgery, as well as she came to Christina skinny, very skin and bones, and she was definitely a big rehab project, and it was very nice to see her competing at RRP, and she actually did very well. So I definitely look up to those two, as well as not just an OTTB, but I also look up to Katrina Natwick with what she's doing with off the track Thoroughbreds here in Texas. So,
what is a quirky or fun trait about Nemo that will always make you smile?
He's very good at injuring himself. No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say,
No, that doesn't make me smile. That makes me roll my eyes. No, what makes me smile is actually, so he would not take treats from me for the first year or so. He actually only started taking carrots from me last month. So that was the biggest. I was super happy. He still won't take other things. Peppermints are a no-go. I think I ruined that with him with peppermint flavored Butte. But whenever he wants something, so I taught him how to smile. So he'll actually flip his lip up. And if he wants something, whether it be me scratching his chest or something like that, he'll flip his lip up at me.
Like, attention.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So I was like, at least this is a cute bad habit you have.
Yeah. It's like when you teach your dog tricks and then you ask them to do something and they do every trick they have.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's the clicker training.
Yes, exactly. If Nemo could talk, what would his catchphrase be?
Hold my beer. Yeah. Like, you have a time frame for this? Hold my beer. Let me show you. Let's make it smaller.
Oh my God.
I like it. Love it. And finally, what is one word you would use to describe an OTTB?
Definitely perseverance, and they've got the endurance to keep on going. They've got big hearts. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jules, your story and Nemo's journey are such an inspiration. What's next for you two? And do you have any big goals on the horizon besides your paper chase hunter pace that you're doing?
Yeah. Our biggest goal is to teach the big fish how to lay down instead of doing downward dog. But my goal, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to hope that we can do at least novice eventing maybe in a couple of years or so. I'm going to take it nice and slow, and whatever he wants to, whenever he tells me he's ready to step it up and stuff, and definitely work more on our liberty tricks and all those things. So
nice. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. Where can listeners go to follow you in Nemo's story? Other than the podcast.
I was going to say, I would say his Facebook, but I don't really post much on there. My Facebook, I'm very active on there, and I don't post anything but Nemo. So if you guys want to see Nemo, you can follow me on Facebook. I'm totally okay with that. I'm very open. And I'm a chatty Cathy. If you message me, I'll definitely answer. So
I love it. Thanks again, Jules. And to our listeners, be sure to stay tuned for more incredible OTTB underdog stories in this series. If you like what you heard today, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. You can follow OTTB on Tap on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and also sign up for our newsletter and bonus content at www.ottbontap.com. We love hearing from you. Until next time,
cheers. You were supposed to say it with me.
I know.